Hi everyone, my name is Steph, this is the Novelty Corner and welcome to the start of another Buzzwordathon reading vlog. I'm starting this a little bit before I'm actually going to start reading books for this vlog, because what I'm planning on doing is vlogging over the first weekend of the school holidays, which also happens to be a weekend that I am staying away in the city. I've got two of my team's hockey games this weekend, and I'm also going to the other Melbourne team's game, even though I don't like them, because I'm staying in the city and I needed something to do on the night in between the other two games. And it's also the Firelight Festival, which I went to last year, and I'm pretty sure I vlogged that weekend as well. But this year we're going to theme it around Buzzwordathon because I do have books picked out for those prompts, and I thought it's just a fun way to actually show you that I do things outside my apartment. I'm not always sitting on this couch, I'm just mostly always sitting on this couch. The holidays I'm talking about are the 2 weeks of the mid-year break that we have here. So that's exciting because man oh man, we need it. I might talk about this a little bit later in the vlog, probably not tonight, but I have had the last 3 days off of work and I'm going back for the last day of term tomorrow. I had my procedure earlier in the week. I'll talk about that later. But anyway, I've had a couple of days off to sort of recover and just feel a little bit more like myself before I go back to work, which is for the last day. Go figure. Okay, Buzzwordathon. This is hosted by Kayla. There are 2 challenges this year. There is the title challenge and there is the cover challenge. So the title challenge this month is to read a book that has punctuation in the title. And I'm going to read The Witch's Boy by Kelly Barnhill because there is an apostrophe in there, a possessive apostrophe, if you will. And the cover prompt is to read a book that features technology on the cover. And I'm gonna be sensible this month, and I'm gonna put Trials of Conviction on here because I'm reading this for our read along, and Kira is riding a waveboard, which is a very fancy technical surfboard that you ride in the air. So that's technology to me because, of course. I'm going to take The Witch's Boy in physical copy with me over this weekend. I'm not taking this brick. I have the ebook, so I'm just going to take my Kindle and read it on that. I do also have the audiobook, but I'll probably just read the Kindle. Unrelated to either of these things and the Buzzwordathon challenge, I'm planning on taking one more book with me. I don't want to take a lot of books with me because I've got to take a lot of stuff, and I've got to take a lot of food, like all of my dietary stuff. I have to take all my own food. So I'm already traveling with more things than I would like to be traveling with, but I'm also going to bring the best of Australian poems from 2024 because I figure this is just a good one that I can pick up and read in little increments, because I'm hoping to do at least one bookstore trip, hopefully to Amplify, which is the BIPOC bookstore in the city. What else do I want to do? It's the Australian Readathon, so I want to go there and I want to see if I can find some BIPOC Australian authors and books that I might be interested in reading for this month, and you know, just in general, because I am generally interested in that. And it's been a while since I've been to Amplify. I think I went at the start of the year or the end of last year. I can't remember which, but most of the time I'm just going to stick pretty close to where I am at the games and possibly just staying in the apartment and catching up on editing and reading. And then of course I'll have my Kindle, so I'll have other things to read. But like for the purposes of this reading vlog, I will be talking to you about these. You may see me reading this, and then I will also do recommendations for other books that you could read for either of these challenges. I guess that's it until I get there for the weekend and I start reading the books, which is when I will update you on how the reading is going. Hi friends, it's Friday night. I told you I wouldn't update before then. So I've just gotten back to the apartment. This is not focusing on me. Now it is. Yeah, I just got back to the apartment. It is like just after 10:30. Been to the game. So I had a couple of work friends coming to the Mustangs Melbourne Ice Derby, the last one of, oh my gosh, why is it not focusing? Focus on me. There we are. I had some friends come, Dad came as well. We lost. And one of our very important players was injured halfway through the second period, and that had a massive
impact on the rest of the game. I'll do a quick round of the apartment, but it's pretty much the same. I reckon I've stayed in this room before, and I think I stayed in this room when I came to this series of games last year. I'll have to find some photos that I took from the balcony from last year to compare them, because I reckon it's the exact same room, and that's fine. I like this room. But yes, I need to shower and I need to eat something before I go to bed. View from the front door. Kitchen with all of my snacks. Probably shouldn't be eating half of those things, but whatever. Desk, bed, balcony, bathroom is through here. Fun mirror, hi. Bedroom and more fun mirrors, hi. Good morning, friends. Happy Saturday. I've gotten up, I've had breakfast. I'm just waiting. It's like 9 o'clock now, and I need to wait till possibly about 10 o'clock-ish to get the tram. I'm going to try and go to the Amplify bookstore today, which is the BIPOC bookstore here in Melbourne. Wow, my eyes look really blue in this light. Anyway, easily distracted. So I'm going to finish what I started last night, which is the Best of Australian Poems, which is not for this vlog, but that's what I'm currently reading, and I'll probably start The Witch's Boy when I get back. So my plan this morning, hopefully, we'll see how I go, is to go to Amplify, which is up near the Queen Vic Market, and then kind of circle back through the CBD and go to Dimmicks, and then come back out here, Hotel Way. So it's kind of just going to be doing a bit of a loop from Docklands all the way back to Docklands. So yeah, like it's been a nice chill quiet morning. I slept in. I say I sleep in, but what's happening at the moment is because I have to take my medication at a certain, like at reasonably similar hours, but I like to sleep in, and unfortunately my regular medication hours is about 6 o'clock. So I got up about 6:30 and took the medication, went back to bed for a little bit, watched some YouTube, just chilled out, slowly got up, got ready, and I've just been watching some YouTube and just, you know, watching the sunrise through the windows. It's quite nice. This is my view, so you can kind of see Docklands waterfront. I'm just there in the corner, and I think I put in a clip this morning of the Melbourne Star as the sun was rising, which is the other side of this window. And then tonight I will go to the Melbourne Ice game. But I think what I'm going to do while I'm waiting to leave to catch the tram is just try and read as much as I can of this poetry collection. I'm about halfway through, and then I will head off. Hi everyone, so it's a little bit later. I have started Trials of Conviction by T.A. White, which is my pick for the technology only cover. So I have started it. I'm one chapter in. I read it while I was on the tram coming back to the apartment. I did a big sort of round city trip this morning. I went to Amplify and had a really nice chat with one of the owners of the store, because the store was pretty quiet when I went in there. Then I sort of walked back down through Queen Vic Markets. I didn't spend a huge amount of time there. I forgot to bring a tote bag with me, so I did buy this cool cockatoo bag from the market, mostly because it had black cockatoos on there, and I am mildly obsessed with black cockatoos. We have the white ones everywhere where I live, but not so many black ones. Did that, went back down through the city. I popped in to Haig's Chocolates and bought myself some very nice dark chocolate, which I'll show you in a minute. I can eat small amounts of dark chocolate at the moment, so I indulged myself in buying the nice dark chocolate. And then I also went to Dimmicks, and I did buy things at Dimmicks, but they're books that I already own. I was just waiting for these editions to come in, so I was very excited because I've been waiting for months for these editions. Every time I've bought them, I've been given the old covers. From Dimmicks, this will shock absolutely no one. Pucking Around and Pucking Wild in the illustrated covers, because Pucking Sweet came out in them. These we've just been waiting for the stock to transfer over. They finally had them, like literally they've had this cover as the display item in online stores for months, but every time you order it, it's the old cover. Now that they're redoing the entire series, yes, I'm a completionist. Does that mean that I now have like 1, 2, 4? Hang on, I might have 4 editions of Pucking Around. I didn't feel too bad about that because that's been something I've been waiting for ages, and I just saw them and went, you know what, I'm just buying them because I just
haven't seen them anywhere. And also I had some points with Dimmix. So from Hague's Chocolates, these are their dark peppermint pastilles. Like one pastille is like the perfect size for a treat, so yay. And also just the regular dark chocolate pastilles, but I got the tin because eventually then I can have something to store them in. That's not a plastic bag that's left open on my bench, which is pretty much what happens. So those are my treats. And then from Amplify, I think I said earlier, Amplify is a BIPOC owned bookstore, and it is also, it only stocks books by BIPOC authors. I did come away with a neat little stack. Most of these are Australian authors. They had Time's Agent by Brenda Peinado, which I haven't heard of, but it seems to be time travel-ish, and it's little, and I love these kind of stories. So I did just grab that one based on vibes only. There is Rock Flight by Hasib Horani, who is a Lebanese Palestinian author living in Australia. It is a poetry collection, and these are Australian or First Nations authors. So there is False Claims of Colonial Thieves by Charmaine Paper Talk Green and John Kinsella, which is another poetry collection. Dreaming in the Urban Areas by Lisa Belia, I think that might be how you pronounce it, which is one of the First Nations classics. Stan Grant's Australia Day, which is just another Stan Grant story that I haven't read yet, and I do need to. I will be reading at least one of his books this month. And then Safe Haven by Shankari Chandran. I read the blurb of this one, and that's why I picked it up. So it said, arriving in Australia seeking asylum, Vina dedicates herself to aiding the refugees who are held in Port Camden, a remote island outpost. Over time, she settles into life within a community of like-minded people, finding a new family far from her original home. After she speaks out for those being detained, Vina becomes the focus of a media storm that leads to her arrest and the threat of deportation. Okay, well, that phone call went on for a while, so now I'm drinking peppermint tea. But yes, those are the books that I acquired, and you know, hopefully I'll read them in the next couple of weeks. I am going to video edit and read some. I think I might read some for a little while I finish drinking my tea. I'll probably have another update on Trials of Conviction a little bit later. Hello, I'm 36% of the way through Trials of Conviction by T.A. White, and for those who are unfamiliar with this series, if you're not following along with our read along or anything that we're doing with it, it is the 5th book in the Firebird Chronicles. It's the last release that's out in the series at the moment. We're waiting for book 6. And the series follows Kira, who is a very competent warrior and survivor who was kidnapped as a child and raised and essentially tortured by an alien race. And then she was rescued by humans. She was raised to believe that she was human but genetically modified by the race that was holding her captive. And in book 1, she discovers that she is one of the lost children of a very powerful race in the galaxy. And the first couple of books are really her journey going home, despite the fact that she doesn't consider it that. It is her finding her place within a culture and a community that she's never considered herself to be part of, and the trials that it takes to go through to proving your adulthood in this culture. She is there with some of the humans that she was fighting alongside in a war, and she has a lot of secrets. She's very competent, very intelligent woman. She has a lot of secrets. She knows more than she lets on. And alongside of all of this, she's also falling for one of the Emperor's, what they call them, faces. They're the most trusted people to the ruling power of this society. Kira and Graydon have this very slow burn romance relationship that starts in book 1 but sort of comes to fruition in later books. And in book 5, where we're up to, which, I mean, it's going to be really hard to talk about it without spoilers because it's book 5 in a series, but at the end of the previous book, a couple of very important characters were kidnapped by the big bad enemies of the series, and this has Kira plotting a way to try and get them back, and that includes stealing and escaping with a prisoner. It involves her reconnecting with members of the 43 who are also children who were taken at the same time she was, but they're very different. They have a very different belief system, and the way that they interact with the world is very different, and she doesn't always agree with them, and their reunion is not something that she had planned, so that's been really interesting to read. It's funny because this series was recommended to me as if you like Ilona Andrews, then you would like this book. It's Ilona Andrews, but it's sci-fi romance, and it's definitely that. It's a really very well-crafted sci-fi
romance, expansive kind of series. But if you like Ilona Andrews' writing style, you're going to like this because it's the way that it's written. It's got the same kind of character dynamics and relationship beats that you would expect. Like all of the side characters, you want to know more about them, you want to be connected to them. And in the last live show, we were having I wouldn't say it's a debate, but a couple of us had mentioned that there was a character who is a major side character who has been through a lot that a couple of us were not a big fan of at the end of the last book. And as I think I said in the live show, it's not that I don't understand this character's perspective. Her name is Elise, but I don't like her actions. And I didn't like her as a character in the book, not because I didn't understand it, but because her choices, and I understand them, made me dislike her. And so it's going to be interesting to see how that evolves in this book. We've only had 1 or 2 little interactions so far at 36%. So I'm thoroughly enjoying that. I have less than an hour before I have to leave to go to the next hockey game, so I might just keep reading. I did not do any video editing, but I might do that tonight when I come back. Yeah, I'm not repping any team tonight except for fake teams from romance books, hence the Carolina Comets jersey. But because I'm going to freeze, I'm also going to wear my AHL jacket, which, if you remember from last year, this is the jacket that I got at the finals last year. I do love it. It's got all the teams on the back. So I'm going to wear that over the top of the jersey because otherwise I'm going to be cold. It is Sunday. It is 10:30 in the morning. I've only been awake, sorry, not awake. I've only been out of bed for like an hour and I've just had breakfast because I'm on holidays, so I got to sleep in. That is the beauty of this, because I did all of my running around yesterday, and because the game is at 2 o'clock today, I didn't really want to be going anywhere. I did consider going out for breakfast, but I might do that tomorrow morning before I leave. I just wanted to lie in bed, so that's what I did. So the next game is at 2 o'clock today, and I've got one of my friends and her family coming with me, so I will head out of here just after 1 o'clock
and head over towards the rink. But last night I didn't update you when I got home from the game, honestly, because I went out to firelight and was walking around for about an hour after the game, and then I came back and I just wanted to sit down and finish reading Trials of Conviction. Melbourne Ice won the game last night, which is unsurprising. I think I had some footage of the teddy bear toss, which I should have included. After that, I went to firelight. Firelight was fun, but it was so packed. It was so busy. I was just walking. I walked along almost 2/3 of the waterfront. I didn't quite get all the way around because I'm just like, I just can't deal with the crowds anymore. And I decided to walk back because I'm on one end of the waterfront, and I walked all the way around to the other side and then came back. So that was fun. And then I came back and I finished Trials of Conviction, and I had a really great time with it. It was really fun. Like, it was a really fun story. This is the first time we've had multiple POVs consistently throughout the book. So a couple of the last books we've had little snippets of other characters' POVs. This time all the characters are separated for various reasons, and so we get different POVs. And I think I talked earlier about how I'd had an opinion of Elise, who's one of the side characters. I'm not going to say that I disagree with myself anymore. I definitely think in book 4 she's a character that I didn't like. I think we have more understanding and empathy for her in this 5th book, but also we didn't get her point of view. And one of the things that I think I need for her is her point of view. Like, I completely understand why she's doing what she's doing. She's doing it to protect her child and other people, but also at the same time, like, there are things that she does, and I know I had this debate in the live show. I know why she does them. I don't disagree with why she does them, but it doesn't necessarily have to make her a likable character. So yeah, that was interesting. I'm kind of curious to see where book 6 goes, because this book does wrap up quite a few little arcs that have been left hanging. It does open up a whole new set of things, but it does sort of wrap up a few things. Normally what I would probably do is give you a list of recommendations of books with technology on the cover, but I'm not at home and I forgot to write down this list before I left. So instead I'm going to give you a list of my future TBR possibilities with technology on the cover, starting with a book that I'm going to be reading really soon, which is Crash Test by Amy James, which has some F1 I think, cars on the cover. So that counts as technology. Cars are a type of technology. I have an anthology called Delicious, and this one is all food related stories, and there is a set of kitchen scales on the cover. So again, technology. I also have Heart of a Champion by, I think it's Kris Montforte, maybe. This is me stretching it a little bit. I'm pretty sure that the female protagonist is holding a laptop on the screen. I have a feeling she has something to do with social media or stats or something. I think this is another F1 racing one, but that's a different type of technology on the front cover. So that's on my radar. I also have When the Moon Hits Your Eye by John Scalzi, which is his most recent release. It's a sci-fi book, and there is a little astronaut on the front cover. He's wearing his astronaut suit, which has technology inside it to keep him alive. So I'm counting that. And let's go with one more. What can I find? Let's go with Antarctica Station by A.G. Riddle, which is, I think, could be a thriller, maybe. There is a habitat set up in what I'm assuming is Antarctica. There are lights of technology, so we're counting that. So those are my 5 potential books with technology on the cover, and hopefully I will be reading those relatively soon so I can get to share them with you. So this morning I'm going to start The Witch's Boy, which will be my book for punctuation in the title, and then I will share some potential future TBR books for punctuation in the title as well. I don't think I updated you before I left for the game tonight. I was back in Friday night's Mustangs gear. We lost. We had played not so great for the first 2 periods and we're down 5-2, and then came back to within one with 6 minutes left in the period, and then we lost. So that was disappointing. But I can't remember if I mentioned this, but one of our very key players was injured on Friday night, and found out today that he's been in hospital and it's highly unlikely he's coming back this season. And not only is he a player, he's our coach, so our head coach. So understandably the team is a little rocky, and hopefully, you know, they'll have some time to practice this week, which will hopefully help. Fingers crossed and all of that, and hopefully he's doing okay. Then, because I was with one of my good friends and her family, they came to the game, and then we went and hung out at the Firelight Festival. So you would have seen some slightly different clips, hopefully, because we were out there a little bit earlier, and then we had some food, and now I'm back. I need to have a shower and I need to eat some of my food. Earlier I got this far into The Witch's Boy. I'm gonna finish it. It's a very fast read, but I was just very distracted earlier today. This is the story of a boy called Ned, who at the very start of the book is involved in an accident in the water with his brother, and their dad jumps in to try and save them, but he can only save one of them, and he gets told to save the right boy, and he saves Ned, and everyone tells him that he's saved the wrong boy. Their mother is known as the Sister Witch of the village. She's able to access some magic that has a mind of its own. It's really actually quite interesting, and she is able to place the soul of the child that they lost into the son that survived. But as a result of this accident, Ned is quite withdrawn. He doesn't really speak. He doesn't speak to anyone outside of the family, and he only very rarely speaks to his parents. But his mother is called to the Queen's court. She tasks Ned with looking after the magic that is guarded in their house. And I know that something is about to happen. I think the magic is going to be set loose, and Ned is going to have to recover it. It's beautifully written. It's Kelly Barnhill. It's going great so far. So shower, then finishing reading this, and that might be it for this vlog. I don't think I'm going to be editing it tonight, but I might try and pull some of the footage off and put it on the computer so I can edit it when I get home tomorrow. I have just finished The Witch's Boy by Kelly Barnhill, and just like any Kelly Barnhill book, it is very beautiful and delightful. The writing in it is lovely, and I think at the last update, and I say I think because basically if I haven't just spoken about something, I forget it. It just leaves my brain. We are following Ned, whose mother is a witch and is in charge of looking after an ancient magic that is mischievous and will try and get its way if you let it. When a bandit comes, or when bandits come to steal this magic for themselves, Ned is forced to take control of this magic, and this begins to cause some problems for him. And we learn throughout the course of the book the history of this magic, how it came about. Ned comes from a very small village in a country that's ruled by a queen who's quite old, and we find out that the queen's relatives are trying to kill the queen because one of her nephews or something like that wants to take control. We also find out that this country is separated from another country by a forest that moves and wanders, and if you enter the forest and you don't know it, you can get lost. And it's part of the history of magic about how this forest came to be, and on the other side of this forest is another kingdom, and that kingdom knows that there are places and people living on the other side of the forest, but Ned's side does not. They believe that it is the end of the world. It's from there that we meet, I'm going to mispronounce it, it's A-I-N-E, Aine, maybe. She is the daughter of the bandit who tried to steal the magic, and she knows that her father has been corrupted by some kind of magic, and she sets off to try and figure out what her father is doing and to possibly stop him. And then she comes across Ned and she ends up helping him. They're also helped along the way by a young wolf, and it was just a really delightful time. There's a lot of humor in it. There is a lot in here, particularly in the last third of the book, around what it means to die and what death means, and you know, the fact that it's a natural thing in life, and that you can feel sorrow for those that have died, like Ned's brother, but if you let it control you, then it becomes something else entirely. And that is a huge part about why the magic has become what it has. So it was just a really fun read. And again, I have not done anything to come up with a list of books with punctuation that I want to read, so we're just going to bring up my Kindle on my laptop and go through some books with punctuation in the title that are, you know, future reads for me. What have we got here? Oh, there's a book called Can't Fight Love by KC Luck. Don't know what it is. Let's look it up. Okay, sapphic sports romance, enemies to lovers. One is a mixed martial arts champion and one is a documentary filmmaker. Okay, that sounds interesting. What else do we have with punctuation? I'm gonna laugh so hard if they're all apostrophes. There is Don't Cry For Me by Rachel Lacey, another contemporary romance. Oh, The Fake Dating Game. Is that Timothy Janovsky? Basically, it's brackets. What else have we got? Oh, there's My Lucky 13 by Piper Rayne, which has a hashtag, and I do want to read that. I've had that for a while. Oh, okay. And then there's Yours for Now by Leonor Soliz, which is a contemporary romance with a plus-size heroine. That's 5 books that are on my TBR with punctuation in the title. On that note, I think we're going to wrap up this vlog. I'm going home tomorrow morning, which means I will probably, hopefully, have time to edit this vlog and have it go up this week, which is exciting. Hopefully you have enjoyed it and it was interesting. I know I did a lot of talking, but hopefully there's also enough sort of footage of the Firelight Festival and a couple of little tiny clips from the hockey. Thanks so much for joining me. I'm looking forward to the next Buzzwordathon reading vlog. In the comments, I'd love to know, are you participating in the Buzzwordathon this month? What books did you pick for it? Feel free to let me know down below. Otherwise, feel free to leave a wolf emoji. Just let me know that you're here. I hope that wherever you're in the world, you're staying safe and healthy, and I will see you in my next video. Thanks so much for watching. Bye everyone.